From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, October the 31st, 2022. An Israeli man was shot and killed in a terror attack Saturday night in the West Bank. The shooting took place between Kiryat Arba and Hebron, and the victim was identified as resident of Kiryat Arba, Ronen Hanania, said to be in his 50s. His teenage son and 3 others were wounded in the attack. The IDF said a security guard in the area neutralized the terrorist, who was said to be a member of Hamas. Hanania was laid to rest yesterday in Jerusalem. Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid shared his deep condolences and said, "We will use all the tools at our disposal and will not allow terrorism to rear its head." The Prime Minister held a security assessment after the incident and ordered security forces in the area be reinforced. And IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant Colonel Aviv Kochavi toured the scene of the attack yesterday morning and conducted a preliminary investigation. Yesterday, meanwhile, several Israeli soldiers were hurt in a deliberate car ramming attack. The IDF said an assailant rammed his vehicle toward IDF soldiers who were at a bus station adjacent to the Nabi Musa and Almog junctions. 5 IDF soldiers were lightly to moderately injured and were evacuated for medical treatment. The Times of Israel said that the terrorist was shot by a police officer and another armed civilian in the area. He was taken to the hospital for treatment but died of his injuries several hours later. Well, more hateful displays in the aftermath of Kanye West's recent anti-Semitic comments. After a football game Saturday night between the University of Florida and the University of Georgia, a message reading "Kanye was right about the Jews" was projected and seen scrolled across the bottom of an electronic video board at the TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. The same message was seen projected on a building in the city, and hateful banners were reported elsewhere in Jacksonville as well. Who was behind the messages is still being investigated, although the Anti-Defamation League tweeted that Florida-based neo-Nazis were responsible. The universities released a joint statement on Sunday reading the University of Florida and the University of Georgia together denounce these and all acts of anti-Semitism and other forms of hatred and intolerance. We are proud to be home to strong and thriving Jewish communities at UGA and UF, and we stand together against hate. And Mayor Lenny Curry tweeted, "Jacksonville is a city made better because of its diversity. Those who spread messages of hate, racism, and anti-Semitism will not be able to change the heart of this city or her people. I condemn these cowards and their cowardly messages." Jewish organizations welcomed the condemnations, but said that more needed to be done. The ADL tweeted that it calls upon elected leaders, candidates, and the community to decisively condemn these hateful displays of anti-Semitism. World Jewish Congress President Ronald Lauder said lawmakers and law enforcement agencies must act decisively and unambiguously to condemn these displays for what they are: hate speech and incitement to violence, and take all appropriate and necessary actions to prosecute those responsible. Free speech, Lauder said, has limits, and inciting violence through anti-Semitic and racist rhetoric crosses the line. We must not allow anti-Semites to threaten the very fabric of our society. And during NFL games broadcast yesterday, the Robert Kraft Family Foundation and the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism ran an ad urging others to raise their voice and stand up to Jewish hate. Well, Israelis will once again head to the polls tomorrow, November the 1st, for the country's 5th round of elections in less than 4 years. And Israel's President Isaac Herzog addressed the issue to the Jewish Federations of North America's General Assembly, which kicked off yesterday in Chicago. After a 3-year in-person hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic, over 1,200 Jewish communal leaders from across the U.S. are taking part in the gathering. Herzog, speaking to them via video message today, said of the elections, the results may or may not be to your liking, but the vote of the Israeli people should be respected. Beyond this, I say to each and every one of you that the firm, vital connection between the State of Israel and North American Jewry will not and should not be compromised, whatever the results. Adding, I have every confidence in the bonds we share, which run deeper than politics or shifting circumstance. We are all bigger than this. IDF soldiers, by the way, began casting their ballots in the elections today at 710 stations in military bases and posts across the country. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, October the 31st at 7 o'clock. The late Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sacks speaks about how the Balfour Declaration changed the course of modern Jewish history. At 7:30, Eric Goldman speaks with Director Julia Mintz about the courageous Jewish fighters celebrated in 4 winters, her film that shatters the myth of Jewish passivity as it documents the bravery and leadership of the Partisans. At 8, Abigail Pogrebin is joined by Rabbi Josh Feigelson, who describes how we can find meaning and purpose and what a Jewish mindfulness practice can really look like. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with past Hadassah president Ellen Hershkin on L'chaim. At 10, Israeli author Anita Shapira discusses her biography about David Ben-Gurion at the 92nd Street Y. And coming up next, I speak with co-founder of Creative Community for Peace, David Renzer, who shares his thoughts on Kanye West's anti-Semitic remarks, how the situation can be seen as a teachable moment, and how CCFP is amplifying the voices of those who stand against hate. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, October the 31st, 2022. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.